thank you for coming to my page. My name is V. I am Witch Child and Stitches on Instagram, and I am Ashtray Girl Val on Ravelry. I also have a private account on Instagram called Ashtray Girl Val. That's also me, but it's just my private account. I am a queer person of color. I live in LA County, um, California. Born and raised city Cali person. I don't have much else to say about that. I live on the border of Orange County, LA County. If any of you guys are from the area, I live like Long Beach, Los Alamitos, Seal Beach area. Um, for those of you that don't know that, I'm so sorry, but we Californians, we like knowing where we're from. I am a knitter, a crocheter. I dabble in weaving. I own a loom. I wouldn't call myself like a weaver, but one day, I'll feel more comfortable with that title. I'm sorry if you hear squeaking noises in the background. I have a really high quality mic. It captures all the sounds. I don't know how to change that. Like I kind of have this idea that if we get like one of those sound buffer things, it'll help. But you can hear like literally my chair squeaking, and I'm so sorry. I am joined. I think you can see his legs, but um, by Sebastian Rex. Oh, he is knocked out. My family's Blue Nose Pitbull. We love him. I guess I'll stop waffling on. I'm drinking coffee out of my hands off my coffee mug from TJ Maxx from like 2 years ago. It is October 4th, Monday. It's 10 a.m. Wow. I started setting up at 7 a.m. That's crazy. I guess we'll talk about knitting and crocheting. I'm going to try to keep this really short. I was initially intending on participating on Vlogtober. I'm not going to be able to post every day. I don't have quality content for everyday posting. My life's fairly boring. Um, but here's my cake. This is a granny square word, crochet square blocking mat. Um, I think it's called Handsy Handmade. Um, I could be wrong. I'll link it down below. It's also on my Instagram page. I follow them. They custom made this for me about a year ago. They only sold natural colored ones when I initially ordered, but I asked via message if they could paint it black for me, because she's a hardcore goth. Um, it has little gummy feet, which I love. These hinges, so it will lay smaller, compact, easily put away. They include the dowels. However, it's so compact that I actually hadn't used it in over a year. And right now, what's on it is Lion Brand Knock on Wood Granny Squares. Um, Lion Brand Mandala Tweed Knock on Wood. Um, I guess that would make more sense to elaborate on. I am knitting 40 some squares on I9 size 5.5 millimeter hook. I'm going to make the Yarn Inspiration Granny Square Kimono Cardigan. Um, this is what the cake looks like. And I've got another cake in there. And I've got green yarn. I'm not sure if I'm going to use Red Heart Super Saver in dark green or in, I think it's called Sage. Same brand. I might use both colors. I think I want the dark green to do the shawl collar on the pattern. If I figure out how to, I'll include a picture what the pattern picture looks like. But if I can't figure it out, everything will be linked to my Ravelry. I'm making size 1. There's size 1 and size 2. Size 2 is only inclusive up until a size 3XL, I believe. but the pattern's really easily adaptable. It is free. It's a yarn inspiration pattern. Um, and my best advice for adjusting the pattern to size is either to add an extra square if you're over a size 3XL, or my favorite method is making the granny squares slightly larger than what the pattern calls for. So I would do an extra row to make the squares slightly bigger. I believe my squares are not to size. Um, Sorry if you can hear all the bumping. Um, I say a lot. I'm so sorry. I would increase the number of rows. The motif that Yarn Inspiration uses is different. Like it's an off-centered granny square. I'm not particularly a big fan of the look, and I just wanted something that incorporated squares. I'm waffling. I'm waffling. I'm also working on a. Let me bring it up. Sorry, that was a little close. Notions. It looks like a shawl right now. It's gonna be a blanket, just a throw blanket. DK Weight Mandala yarn again. Lion Brand Mandela. Warlock is in here. I started adding in Dragon, which is where this brown starts right here. I'm going to add in Centaur and Groot. Mandela yarn in Groot and some of their newer colorways, since their rebranding's available at Walmart for like $5 a ball. Maybe even $3. I can't quite remember. Centaur, Dragon, and like I said, Warlock's already in here. I'm really into earth tones recently. I'm so sorry. That must hurt your ears. Um, if I had to describe my aesthetic, I would use the words Goblin Core, Goth, and I would use historical D&D core. I like vintage fashion. I'm a big fan of Bernadette Banner here on Instagram. I'm a big fan of other costuming, historical costumers, I guess. I know a lot of these people actually wear these as like their day-to-day clothing. However, it's not plausible for me as a person that has to work a full work week in the food industry. I can't wear historical core to work. But I can wear vintage fashion. I work for the Siren. I hope you all get that reference. And if you don't, I'm sorry I can't talk about work on the internet. Just know I make coffee professionally. And I am drinking cheap instant coffee. The boy. I'm sorry. I love my dog. I live for him. Gently. Okay. So those are my two crochet projects currently going on. I have hibernating whips, history of tree shawl, a caplet, the, the history of tree shawl. I'm knitting. I'm crocheting with Lion Brand Ferris wheel. Um, is it Evergreen Garden? Something violets and the blue one. I don't know what to say. I'm doing a somewhat of a fade. I started with the blue. I'm fading in the pink in the middle. It's a two color shawl, but I wanted to incorporate a third color because I had a color scheme planned out. And in the color scheme, the blue would fade into the pink and the pink into the green. So it kind of looked like the band of Venus, essentially, with the pink. Um, and using the green for the actual like tree portions at the bottom. Um, I will show that once I have more progress done on it. I'm not even halfway through part one. chapter 1. I'm I procrastinated on it, mostly because I should have gone up in a hook size. I believe the pattern called for a size H, but it also called for DK yarn, and I'm using worsted weight, and I still used a size H. So my fabric's pretty stiff, which I'm kind of bummed out about, but it's not the end of the world stiff. Like it will still drape, and it would probably like look better once it's washed and blocked out because it's acrylic yarn. It's going to stretch a bit. Um it's just that at the moment it's not the most enjoyable thing. I'm also going to have a lot of ends to weave in, but that's just life. What else do I have that I'm working on? I have, as far as knitting goes, mostly planned cast ons. I have two projects that need to be frogged, both socks, both Peyton's Croy sock yarn. I have a huge stash of Peyton Croy's yarn because coupons, and I really got into knitting because I wanted to learn how to knit socks. Very specifically, I watched Shy from Shia knits. She's a much more aesthetically pleasing goth than I am. Um, I hope she uses she pronouns. I think so. Um, she made these fabulous pairs of octopus socks. I want to say a year ago. I saw her podcast on it, instantly fell in love with the socks, and I was like, I want to knit that. Like, that is something I really want to do. I knew how to do crochet, and I knew how to do crochet color work. Completely skipped my mind that knitting is a completely different beast. So I don't know how to do color work yet. So I can't make those socks. But I have made socks. And I am quite in love with all the socks I have made. I'm going to show the ones I have finished that are my favorite. This is Cotton Collage and Brown Multi. I did vanilla socks, 9-inch circs, cast on 64 stitches, 10 rows ribbing, 10 rows knit, turn for the heel flap and gusset. I made them in US size 1 needles. Because I didn't have US size zeros. They fit me slightly too large, and I mean slightly. It's not that big deal. I wear them a lot. They're pretty faded actually from the initial color that they were. And they look like they kind of want to felt in at the heel turn. I love them. Thick wool socks are great for breaking in Doc Martens. I had gotten a pair of, this isn't a fashion show, but like in case you like care or wonder, I got the Ambassadors 1460s, so they're work safe shoes. 1460s, 1461s, and there's another number. If those numbers are in front of your Doc Martens, non-slip. You can take those to work. They're their classic style, classic sole, which was meant to be a work boot. In case anyone else works in the food industry. I'm currently working on same yarn, different color. This one is C Multi. It shows a little picture of how it should knit up. I'm like showing it to the mic. I'm so sorry. It shows a little picture of how it should knit up. I'm going with what I got. They're going to be shorty socks, shorter than those. It's just going to be the ribbing. I have one more row of ribbing, 15 rows ribbing, heel flap, gusset, knit to the end. US size zeros in 64 cast on. I use these little nibs. Chagu, red lace, likes to poke through my purses, which I'm not a big fan of. It also helps me keep the little markers in place when I'm like at the end of a row and I'm like, okay, I reached the end of that row. I want to put my knitting down, but it's like, oh crap. I got my stitch marker there. It's gonna fly off. Nah, not with these. I've made another 2 pairs of socks that aren't here. Cozy Toes Yarn Bee from Lobby in Alabaster, and Drive All Night, Perfect Pair, Loops and Threads, Perfect Pair, Drive All Night yarn. They're these really pretty pink socks. However, those really fit me loose. They're one of my favorite pairs to wear because they're like a pastel color. Um, but they are slightly too large. I wear them only with boots because it's the only way the top will stay up. Um, what else? Quickly touching on Hobby Lobby yarn before I go on. Hobby Lobby is accessible to me. It's down the street from me, which is why I buy and purchase from there. I understand I'm a queer person of color. I understand why we should endorse Hobby Lobby. Accessibility is also a big point for me. Um, I haven't bought Hobby Lobby yarn in a while. But I do have to use what's on in stash, and my ignorance is not an excuse for why I have purchased from them in the past, but I will no longer be purchasing from Hobby Lobby. I just have stash yarn I need to go through. And I know some people would rather like get rid of it, but I see that as wasteful. And sustainability and knitting is a whole conversation I think I touched on earlier. But I'm not going to throw things away or get rid of them when I made the mistake. I can recognize I made the mistake. I'm not going to purchase from them further. Only this year I actually started getting into fundy snark and fundamentalism, um like learning about it. I'm not becoming a fundy. Um Mostly through Fundy Fridays here on YouTube. I love their channel. I want to be her friend. You know, if you watch this channel, we all want to be friends. But I'm too poor for Patreon, so I'll just keep watching the YouTube videos and not commenting. Um uh my boyfriend was raised Protestant, and we both are really into fundy snark. Like, he's no longer Protestant. I'm not Catholic. I'm an eclectic pagan. Um, it was through watching their videos and becoming more aware of all of the horrible things Hobby Lobby's done, and the owner of Hobby Lobby, the families behind Hobby Lobby, was when I started realizing, like, oh crap, like, it's the Christian mafia out here. I'm not giving them my money. Um, but by then I had already acquired a big number of stash, so I'm gonna work through that stash. And that's just the end of it. We're not gonna continue to pursue this conversation. Um, on Instagram, when I do post projects that include Hobby Lobby yarn, I do post I no longer endorse the brand. Hobby Lobby. Oh, well, I brought that up because this yarn's from Hobby Lobby. Cozy Toes is from Hobby Lobby. Um, and I think the last time I was at Hobby Lobby, they had a huge clearance sale, so that's why I have like such a large stash. Like, they were big balls of yarn of the 44th Street or something like that. It's like this DK fluffy haloed yarn. It was $1, and I think some of them were 59 cents. And I lost reasoning. I was weak, and I'm no longer gonna do that again. Um, Speaking of the clearance section, however, Joann's had clearance yarn. I bought these 3 balls of yarn, this ball of yarn, and another ball of knock on wood for the kimono cardigan. These are all big twist graphic. I actually really like this yarn. I haven't knit it, but it is squishy. And I like the look of cotton twist yarn, natural cotton twist yarn. That is also what Cotton Collage has, a natural cotton twist in it. Um, this is 35% acrylic, 56% cotton, 9% polyamide. It is machine washable. Just don't iron any acrylic, guys. Please don't. I also got Moroccan Nights and Sultan. Beautiful. It's sparkly, which I typically am very adverse towards. Because she's a hardcore goth. I'm joking. Mostly, I just don't like things that are like super shiny on me. If the shiniest thing I'll wear is makeup and maybe latex. That is loud. I'm sorry. What else did I have to show? Um, Dragon Horde yarn, advent calendar. I'm gonna show all of the ones. I've recorded this once already, so I already know what the color of the day is. But such is life. I'm very awkward and I waffled on quite a bit. You guys can peek into the colors. My plan for this advent calendar is to do... Oh, I want to say ventriloquist, but I'm totally off by that. It starts with a V, though. The name of the pattern I want to make. It was the pattern for the advent calendar last year, but I don't think it was the Halloween calendar. Was it? Was it the Yule Advent? There was a giant scarf. It had the fire stitch. The middle was kind of like I'm gonna say snowflake motif. I could be wrong. I hope that there's another pattern that comes out because it does feel very wintry, like that pattern specifically. And I would like something not so wintry. And I don't want to just do stripes. I'm also considering I'm gonna butcher this name. Luminaria. Lumeria. Lumeria. Luminaria. I think it's like Luminaria, but could be wrong. So these are the colorways thus far. How do people hold these up? Here, we'll try this. Hades, Medusa, Empusa, and Cupid. Day 4 of the Advent is Cupid. Today is October 4th. Favorite colorway so far? Hades. I'm eclectic pagan practicing. I do use deity for worship, and my patron is Hades, my matron Persephone. Such is life. And I think that's it as far as non-finished objects and the likes. Mending. I have one mending project I haven't talked about. I'm mending all of the fray edges of my Vans off the wall jacket that I've had for about 10 years. It's completely ruined. I got it thrifted, so it's probably older than that. I'm gonna do some sashiko mending on the collar. I'm sewing in by hand, which you can see the needle flying about. I'm trying to grab it by hand. All of the bias binding I'm putting on the edges. I'm going to use a true bias tape for the bottom hem. And all of the mending that I do is going to be in black and orange yarn. It's going to be a Halloween themed jacket. I think that's about it. I think that's everything I wanted to talk about. I managed to stay under 40 minutes this time. And I guess I want to talk about a little bit. I guess I wanted to talk about mental health and knitting a little bit. I think I'm going to do this more like it was a podcast style than actually doing Vlogtober. So I will see you guys again in November, hopefully early November, but we will see. Okay, sorry for the interruption. And on that note, I guess I should say goodbye. I hope we can continue to have more conversations around our knitting journeys and mental health journeys. I'm excited to be part of the community. Again, I'm on Instagram as Witch Child in Stitches and on Ravelry as Ashtray Girl Val. I'm going to post as many links to projects down below. And hopefully I will see you all in a month. Goodbye. Trying to do that PPS ending.